How to raise your testosterone levels through the roof without drugs. It's no secret that back in the day, men had much higher testosterone levels than they do today. There simply had to be something that motivated men to hack their way through the wilderness and assemble a civilization. If one is a fan of old photographs, it is not uncommon to find snapshots of men who barely weigh 200 pounds picking up a train axle. How did they do it? The answer lay in their high testosterone levels. These days, the average testosterone level of an adult male is 400 to 500 nanograms per deciliter, with a total possible range between 200 and 800 nanograms per deciliter, barring outliers. However, these numbers are shockingly low when you realize that barely 100 years ago, the range of testosterone in adult males was 800 to 2,000 nanograms per deciliter. We've become feminized and weak as time has gone by, with society attributing testosterone levels in the range of 800 to 2,000 nanograms per deciliter to steroid usage or a weekly injection of testosterone cypionate. The problem with steroids and testosterone cypionate is that your body will shut down its natural hormone production when given the synthetic stuff. So, when you come off the juice, your body doesn't remember how to make testosterone and your whole system is out of whack. Not to mention the fact that testosterone cypionate is not produced by your system, but rather introduced into it from an external source, and therefore liable to be converted into a slew of nasty byproducts including bad estrogens. But why do testosterone levels keep dropping with each successive generation? There are three major factors at play here. 1. Heavy metals, pesticides, fluoride, chlorine, and estrogen-mimicking chemicals are wreaking absolute havoc with the receptor sites in our endocrine systems. Just imagine a toxic monkey wrench being thrown into the delicate machinery that is your endocrine system. It's hard to escape these poisons since they saturate our food, our water, and our air. 2. Instead of consuming a diet fit for a predator, we are fed a diet fit for a barnyard animal. Meat and fat are maligned despite the fact that testosterone is manufactured from cholesterol, while carbs and sugars are worshipped, the worst form of this idolatry being high fructose corn syrup. Refined sugar wreaks havoc on your endocrine system and will give you diabetes as surely as smoking will give you lung cancer. 3. We are utterly starved for vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients that are essential for the production of testosterone. These nutrients are vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, iodine, iodide, and magnesium chloride. What's interesting is many of these nutrients are branded as toxic and dangerous, when in fact they are not. Now, it can be argued that high testosterone levels are simply not desired in today's world, where we are expected to sit in cubicles for the better part of our days, where getting into a street fight can land you in the penitentiary, and where we are expected to swallow ever-increasing affronts to our sovereignty. Yes, high testosterone levels are simply not desired by our masters. With this in mind, it can be argued that men are being poisoned on purpose as part of a conspiracy to make sure we stay little boys throughout our entire lives. Testosterone, after all, is the fuel that drives personal growth in a man and is the source of a man's courage. Now, before you dismiss this as conspiracy theory, remember that fluoride was first introduced into the water supply in Soviet prisons in order to keep the prisoners docile. The warden certainly had no interest in preserving the health of his inmates' teeth. Okay, so you're feeling me and want to commit to living a lifestyle that allows for the highest level of testosterone possible. But what steps should you take? The first thing you need to do is detoxify. This is easier than you think and doesn't require daily enemas or anything messy like that. You also don't have to drop $500 on a blender and start grinding up expensive organic vegetables. All you need to ingest is zeolite and MSM, an inexpensive form of sulfur. Zeolite is a volcanic mineral with a specific lattice structure that traps all manner of toxic nonsense and removes it from your body via your urine. Lots of companies sell expensive liquid zeolite, but all the studies that were done used the powdered micronized zeolite. One can take 1 tablespoon a day of the stuff along with 1 teaspoon of sodium ascorbate, which is buffered vitamin C. MSM cleans out and regenerates your liver, which is important because if your liver is dirty, testosterone production is going to suffer. One can take 1 tablespoon a day of the stuff along with 1 teaspoon of buffered vitamin C. Now you may ask why I'm including buffered vitamin C in both drinks. Buffered vitamin C is just so incredibly valuable with respect to testosterone production for 2 reasons. 1. Your adrenal glands are literally made from vitamin C, and millions of men are suffering from adrenal fatigue. This is critical because if your adrenal glands are burned out, you will never be able to produce high testosterone levels. Forget about all those supplements being peddled for your adrenal glands. Just consume as much buffered C as you can and you will be fine. 2. You need to make friends with cholesterol because your body manufactures hormones from it. Yet people are scared of it because the media has gotten people to believe that cholesterol causes clogged arteries. Let me tell you what really happens. Most of the population doesn't get enough vitamin C, so they are actually suffering from subclinical scurvy and don't even know it. Your body uses vitamin C to repair your arterial walls, and when there is not enough vitamin C around, your body gets worried that your arteries may burst. So, lacking in vitamin C, it takes cholesterol and uses it like spackle on drywall to reinforce them. Sure, eventually they will clog and you will die, but it's better to die a few years down the road from clogged arteries than to die today from ruptured arteries. See, your body is always making decisions by default that will keep you alive for as long as possible. It's the body's basic programming: survive and reproduce, in that order. The thing to remember about vitamin C is that when you take too much orally, you will get diarrhea. In the beginning, given you may be utterly starved for it, you may find you can ingest up to 60 grams a day of buffered C without diarrhea. But as the days go by, you will have to drop the dose to around 5 to 10 grams ingested over the course of the day, dependent on stress levels. As an interesting side note, humans are simply not capable of synthesizing vitamin C and require it from external sources. Goats, when under stress, synthesize as much as 150 grams of vitamin C per day in their own bodies. So I'm sure you can see how these 3 inexpensive powders, zeolite, MSM, and sodium ascorbate, are regenerating your adrenals and liver while detoxifying you of all those nasty chemicals that are gunking up your endocrine system. But detoxifying yourself is one thing. You must also make sure you are not continually ingesting these poisons orally or through absorption via your skin. Both your drinking water and the water you shower and bathe in needs to be free of fluoride and chlorine. This can be done cheaply with filters on your cold water tap in the kitchen sink and on your shower head. You can buy a triple-stage filter that removes fluoride, chlorine, and everything else for under $200, and you won't have to buy a replacement filter for at least a year. Or you could buy a photonic water restructurer for around $350, which doesn't even use a filter. Why spend money and energy lugging around bottles of water? Next, you have to stop eating refined sugar, especially high fructose corn syrup. Eat meat, eggs, nuts, and vegetables, especially cruciferous ones. Once again, don't be afraid of fats. Fats make your food taste great, and fat is the only source of energy your body can completely survive on. Try living on just carbs or just proteins. You will die sooner rather than later. Try living on just fat, you will live. As you cut carbs and sugars from your diet, your body will begin to burn fat as fuel instead of carbohydrates. You'll turn into a fat-burning machine. Incidentally, am I the only one old enough to remember when chicken actually tasted delicious? I can remember buying a whole rotisserie chicken at the corner deli for $3, and it was the most delicious thing around. These days, you might still be able to get a $3 rotisserie chicken at your local supermarket as a ploy to get customers in the door, but that chicken will taste like styrofoam. That's because they breed these birds to have minimal body fat. Interestingly, back in the 1950s, eating meat was promoted to the ladies by the beef industry to keep them slim and trim. Then around the early 1980s, the last time I had a tasty chicken, they put it into people's minds that eating fat makes you fat. Seems logical, but only if you are uneducated. My point is that man should never be afraid to eat mammal. Meat is the only source of nutrition which still has nutrients in it, especially the liver. Liver is so packed with nutrition, it could be stuffed in a bottle and sold as nature's original supplement. But people turn up their noses when you mention liver to the degree that I can buy organic grass-fed beef liver at Whole Foods for $3 a pound. It's so cheap because nobody wants it. Now let's talk about specific nutrients that we need to supplement with in order to attain the highest testosterone level possible. Vitamin A is critical for high testosterone production, and vitamin D is nature's version of an anabolic steroid. So instead of injecting testosterone cypionate and popping D-ball, try ingesting as much vitamin A and D as you can. But be careful, most vitamin A and D supplements are synthetic. This includes many high vitamin cod liver oils because the companies that process and manufacture them add additional synthetic A and D and simply don't tell anyone. Synthetic A and D is downright deadly. Natural vitamin A and D, on the other hand, has never harmed anyone and can be taken in high amounts with no side effects except for awesome health. I've consumed over 50,000 units of vitamin A and over 5,000 units of vitamin D every day for years. The key here is to ensure that you are taking natural and not synthetic vitamin A and D, and that is often difficult to determine. The next thing you need to be aware of is the importance of iodine and iodide in your diet. If exhausted adrenals are at one end of your endocrine system, hampering your testosterone production, then a famished thyroid gland is often at the other end. Contrary to popular belief, iodized salt does not provide your body with what it needs. Japan, which prior to the Fukushima meltdowns had the lowest rates of cancer in the world, boasts a daily consumption of iodine at around 12 milligrams. This is due to their high consumption of seaweeds such as arame and kombu. Since the nuclear disaster, these seaweeds are contaminated and I wouldn't consume them. But there are plenty of vendors online selling Lugol solution that can be diluted in water and drunk on a daily basis. Lugols is a mixture of iodine and iodide. Your thyroid tends to prefer iodide, while the rest of your body prefers iodine. I would shoot for a lower daily dosage than the Japanese ingest, but certainly more than the 150 micrograms recommended in this country. When you ingest Lugols, you'll also need to consume an organic source of selenium like Brazil nuts, or plants that contain selenium. You will also need to consume magnesium chloride. Magnesium chloride is something we are all deficient in. Sadly, most magnesium supplements contain magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, or magnesium malate. Your body craves the chloride. End of story. All those other magnesiums are close to worthless. The good news is there are companies out there selling magnesium chloride for use on the skin or in the bath. This is because you can absorb magnesium through your skin. But a man doesn't have time to soak in a bath. So I get the purest grade of magnesium chloride crystals or magnesium oil I can find and dilute 1 teaspoon with 12 ounces of water and drink a magnesium shake once a day, every day. Once you follow the advice contained in this article, then you can add the greatest all-natural testosterone supplement there is, real Indonesian Tongkat Ali in 100-to-1 extract. The stuff has been demonstrated to raise your testosterone levels by up to 300%, assuming you consume enough of the potent extract. Tongkat Overload has 800 milligrams of 100-to-1 extract in every daily dose, plus 450 milligrams of magnesium chloride and 30 milligrams of zinc picolinate. Ever heard of a ZMA formula that used real magnesium chloride? I didn't think so. To round off the supplement, I've added 500 milligrams of 16-to-1 stinging nettle extract. I've done this because stinging nettles contains iron phosphate, which is iron that is totally absorbable by your body and has zero side effects. Iron is a critical and often overlooked mineral necessary for testosterone production. So there you have it. All you need to know to get your testosterone levels back to those of the old-time strongmen. What will you do with your newfound manhood? I'll leave that up to you.